Hi, it's Chef Joe from Outdoor Solutions and FieldToTable.com. We are here in Montana, Bonner, Montana, where I live, and this is my shop where I do all of my butchering and processing with the game I harvest. Today, we're going to be making a fresh sausage, and we're going to be using turkey and some pork in that. This is an excellent recipe to use with wild game turkey, pheasant, grouse, any of the game birds. It's a nice light Italian sausage base, and it goes great on the barbecue or cooked in a pasta sauce. If you haven't seen our previous videos about curing sausages and that, you might want to check those out, and you'll see the difference between the dry herbs that we use in those cured products versus the fresh herbs that we're going to use today in this sausage. It's a very simple sausage to make. We're going to grind some meat up, and we'll add our fresh herbs to it and mix that. We always taste it before we put it into the casings in case we want to adjust anything, salts or peppers or whatever. And then this sausage is great to make into casings or make into patties, or you can make meatballs with it and vacuum pack or freeze those as you go. So with that, we're going to get started. All right, so we're getting ready to grind up our meat in that, and I've added some of our sliced garlic and fresh herbs into that, and we'll run that through the grinder just so we can get that garlic and that mulched up and mixed into it better. And then once we get done with that, we're going to go ahead and throw it in our mixer and give it another mix, and we'll add some of the salt and seasonings to it. Now, when you're doing wild game birds, your ratio of pork to that bird will be a little bit higher just because you want that fat content in your sausage so it doesn't dry out on you. And now we've run through all our meat, and then just to make sure that all that meat has been processed and pushed through and ground, just go ahead and take some of the meat you've already ground up and put it right back through there on a second time. That's going to ensure that the meat that gets hung up sometimes between the blade and the screw drive in there gets processed and pushed through. Now that we've got everything ground up, we'll go ahead and clean out our mixer. So just clean your face off, and then I always like to just unscrew it. We'll take out the stuff, but what I like to do is just, instead of trying to dig this out, I just give it a quick hit, and it pushes it right out, and you're done. So we've got nice good chunks of garlic in here and fresh herbs. And the nice thing with these herbs is it's immediate. The flavors and the aroma that they put into the meat is really, really good. So we're going to throw this into our mixer, and then we're going to add about a cup of Marsala wine to it. And that's going to be kind of our liquid form for this sausage. And then, like I say, we can make this into casings. We'll stuff casings with it, and then we can also do the bulk sausage, and that way we can make some patties or meatballs or whatever we like to make with it. So we'll go ahead and get our stuffer going, and we're done. All right, we've got her all ground up. We've got our seasonings and herbs and some fresh garlic in there. We're going to add this in. Oh, it smells so good. We really need to make smell-o-vision just so you can, all these fresh herbs and stuff ground up. It's pretty tasty. All right, so we've got it in here. Now we're going to add about a cup and a half or so of Marsala wine. Or so. And now what we're going to do, our final step, is we're going to make zest some lemon. So we've got some nice lemons. Always wash them before you zest them because people handle them and stuff. And we're just going to zest 2 lemons into this. And that's going to give it just a nice little zip to it. And you don't want the white pith, you just want the yellow part. So you can get that all nice and in there. And you don't have to get every scrap of it off the lemon. The old saying, when life gives you lemons, instead of lemonade, you can make sausage. All right. Now we're just going to mix this up. And with these mixers, these blades go in a certain direction depending on which way you're turning it, but it'll push it to one side, and then you want to reverse that course so it brings it back in and it just mixes everything nice. And so and then just bring it back. This is one of those sausages where you can add different seasonings to it, the peppers, some fennel or coriander seed, just your preference to it. But it's a nice fresh sausage. You can freeze this up in the casings or, like I said, the bulk in a vacuum pack it in 1 pound bags or make patties or however you like to, how you want to store it. It gives you some nice options on how to cook it, basically. I'm going to scrape these sides down just a little bit, and then we're going to be good. And we'll fry up a little and see if we need to adjust anything. So we'll take a little bit out of there. Make a nice patty. Now we'll go over to the stove and fry that up and see if it needs any adjustments. All right, we've got our pan warmed up and we're gonna just saute that real quick. Let me get my spatula. So, unlike the other ones where when we taste the cured sausages that we're making, all we're looking at is the adjustment of the salt with that. However, with the fresh sausage, if we want to add more herbs or something into it, we can now do that too. But we're also looking at our salt content when we do these. If you're into the turkey burgers and stuff like that, this makes a great barbecued turkey burger. So, and even with the fat that we've added into this, you can see how nice and lean this is. So now we want to taste to see if we need to adjust anything. Careful, it's hot. You can
taste those fresh herbs.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a fresh sausage is those herbs are immediate. And when you're using in the curing process, those dried herbs are actually hydrating themselves in the meat mixture, and then as it cures, that flavor from those herbs now starts to expand into the meat to where when you do a fresh sausage like this, it's just right immediate. And so the other aspect is if you use fresh herbs in a cured sausage, it takes harder to cure because it's still got that moisture in it, and then that moisture has to evaporate or cure also. So dry for your cured, fresh for this stuff. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's real good. Yeah.
All right.
Love the flavors.
So sometimes I think If you like it a little more spicy or not, we can add it at that point. So now that we've approved our test, we're going to go back and we'll run it through our stuffer, and we'll actually probably divide this batch because it's about a 10-pound batch. So we'll do stuffed and then we'll do bulk, and that way we have options. All right, so now that we've got it mixed up and all our seasonings are right, we're going to add it to our stuffer. This is a 5-pound stuffer, so we'll put about half of that in here, and then that'll give us 5 pounds to make meatballs and burgers. Sometimes it's best just to get your hands in there. So as you're adding it into these stuffers, you want to kind of pack it down a little bit so you don't get air pockets in there. This compresses and runs it out, it'll run the air out, but you want to do everything you can to keep from getting the air into your casings. And all right, so we've got that. All right, so we're going to use hog casings today. For our casings, you can use the collagen or your preference, or like I said, half of this is going to be bulk. So we're going to put those casings on, and as I press down on this and it starts getting the pressure, we're going to want to take that right to the end like that and then back off, and we'll get just a little bit, and then that's what we're going to help lubricate the outside of this tube with. And you can use a spray oil or olive oil or something like that, but I always just find it's good just to use that. So these casings have been in salt, and you have to soak them in some water, and then you can run, with the spigot, you can run some water down through the center of them. It helps get them onto here a little bit easier. And so once you get that on, and then you can use butcher's twine to tie the ends off of these, or you can just tie a simple knot. And so when we put these on here, we're going to make different sized sausages. And I do family style, which is a larger sausage, but a lot of times I love to use a cast iron skillet, and I cut the potato wedges, season those with a little olive oil, garlic, salt, and pepper, and I put those in the cast iron skillet, and then I just lay that big long link of sausage in there and put it in the oven and let it cook. And it's a great, easy meal. It's a good camp meal when you're hunting and stuff. But, you know, then you just cut off as you like it, or, you know, if you want brats, you can cut it into lengths for the brats. But the nice thing is you're making your own sausage, so you get to determine what size you want. So if we have a blowout, which happens, you're just going to tie it off and tie the other end off, and then just throw that meat that's in between there back into your stuffer for the next go around. When you do these sausage like this, you're guiding it with this hand, and you don't want to overstuff these casings, because that's what can cause your blowout. And if you're twisting them into links, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So as they go in there, as you can see, one person can do this, but it is a lot easier with two people. So when you get down to that end, you're just going to back that off, which alleviates the pressure, and then you're just going to bring that in there, and we'll make our knot in the end. And I kind of like to roll them a little bit, looking for air bubbles and that. If you get one in there, you can just take a toothpick and prick it. And, you know, sometimes you'll get a little bit fatter in some area where you stopped or for some reason you'll see a little pinch point. Well, you can now move all this stuff around in there and then you're good to go. If I was doing a dinner for 4 and I wanted a really nice presentation, then this is what I would do with that as far as putting it in the cast iron skillet with my potato wedges or even the hedgehog potato around it and one in the center, and then you just roast that just as it is and then plate it out like that, and you can slice it as you like. So that's an option you have. When you make these links, you're just going to pinch it down and then twist it, and do about 4 or 5 twists. So if you want to be consistent with your lengths, just fold it over and where it connects, pinch that one down, and then twist that in the opposite direction. And that secures the link. And so you just keep doing that, and you can just fold it again and pinch that one down. And then if you just center your last one, or you can even leave that as a longer length and cut it that way, and you're good to go. So we're going to stuff the rest of this sausage, and then we'll wrap up the bulk, and then we'll be calling her good for this. And so we'll see in a bit. All right, we've finished up our turkey sausages, and we're getting ready to bag them up and put them in the freezer. We divided it into sausage and lengths and bulk. So all you do now is you just want to determine how many you want per bag. And we'll go 4 per bag, and you want to just cut where you made your twist. It's easier to write down on the bag what you have in it before you put your product in it. And so we're just going to do our Italian sausage, or turkey sausage, fresh turkey sausage. I always put the date on them because you start getting stuff. I get fall turkey, spring turkey. I might make different types of it. So it's always good to make sure you do date what you're doing in the year. These chamber vacs and that, when you're vacuum packing, they'll last about a year when they're properly sealed in your in the bag. So we've got those in there. When you put these in, you want to make sure that you've got on the meat chamber vac, there's 2 little silver bars in here. So you want to make sure your lip of your bag is underneath those, and just take a quick look at your package. Make sure you have no wrinkles or anything in there, and then you're going to get a great seal. The machine does everything else. These things are just awesome, and you can get into a nice rhythm with these things. While that's doing that, you just keep marking your bags. You figure out how many bags you need for what you have, and away you go. The nice thing with this meat chamber vac is you can adjust the timing on it too, to allow for all the air to be sucked out of the chamber to the amount of time you want to seal it. So I always recommend you use the bags that meat makes, because they're a little thicker, they're better bagged than what you usually find on the product. But if you go and buy different shop vacuum pack bags, they work great in this also, but you can adjust the seal time on them, because some of them are a little thinner plastic than what we have here. And then that's done. Just take them out, give them a quick look, make sure you don't have any seals, broken seals or anything, and then you just set her on the side and go on to your next ones. So we're going to finish getting these all vacuum packed up and put away, and then we'll divide our bulk in and do that. So we're gonna do our bulk sausage now, and whether you're wearing gloves or it's your fingers, when you wanna pre-measure everything out before you vacuum pack it, and the reason for that is I make this one and I gotta pull my gloves off, put it into the bag and do that, and then put new gloves on or wash your hands for each bag. So we're just gonna pre-measure everything and then we'll be good to go. And then if you wanna make patties, you can just take your burger, sausage or whatever you're gonna make those out of. And I like about a 1/4 pound, so you usually get 4 out of a pound. And just take some plastic wrap, fold it over, and you're gonna have and you can form these however you like. But now you've got a nice, consistent burger. And then you can just slide these in 2 to 4 to a bag and you're good to go. So you can use a patty press or anything else, but simple plastic wrap and you can shape it by hand and you're good to go. So we'll finish vacuum packing all this up now. So we're putting in our 1 pound bags, and what I like to do is just kind of flatten them out, and the only reason I do this is because they stack nicer in the freezer versus just having it into a ball. And then on our burgers, we'll use our smaller bags, and since it's usually just my wife and I, we'll just put 2 burgers per bag and vacuum pack those, and we can pull them out anytime when we're camping and stuff, and it's all pre-done. You just throw them on the grill and you're good to go. All right, and then we got a nice good seal, just perfect.